Imagine getting fired on the spot, with no warning, not just from any job, but from one of the most high-profile reality TV franchises in the world. That's exactly what happened when Mona Scott-Young, the powerhouse behind the love and hip-hop empire, dropped the hammer on several cast members after a shocking showdown involving law enforcement. But what led to this sudden and dramatic decision? And who got caught in the fallout? Reality TV is no stranger to chaos. It thrives on drama, explosive arguments, and unexpected twists. But even in a world built on unpredictability, this moment left fans and industry insiders completely stunned. In an unprecedented move, Mona Scott-Young fired an entire group of cast members, without warning, following a tense and chaotic incident with the police. The decision was swift, final, and sent shockwaves through the love and hip-hop universe. So, what exactly happened behind the scenes that pushed Mona to make such a bold, high-stakes call? Was this about protecting the franchise's reputation? Or was there more to the story than what the cameras showed? In this video, we'll break down the full chain of events that led to this reality TV bombshell, from the moments leading up to the police involvement to Mona's final decision and how the cast reacted to being suddenly cut off. We'll explore the behind-the-scenes drama, the untold details, and the insider accounts that reveal just how intense things got. One thing's for sure, Mona proved that not even reality TV royalty is untouchable. So grab your popcorn, because this isn't just another reality show scandal. This is a game-changing moment that rewrote the rules. Stay tuned. We're breaking it all down. Before we dive into the fallout and the shocking firings, let's rewind to understand what led up to this explosive moment. Mona Scott-Young, the mastermind behind the wildly successful love and hip-hop franchise, has built an empire on unforgettable drama, larger-than-life personalities, and unpredictable twists that keep viewers coming back for more. But behind the cameras, the business of reality TV isn't always as glamorous as it seems. It all began during what was supposed to be a routine filming session for an upcoming season. The love and hip-hop cast is known for being bold, outspoken, and at times, completely unpredictable. But this day was different. This time, the drama spiraled far beyond the usual on-screen antics. A heated altercation between cast members escalated to such an intense level that law enforcement had to be called in, something that had never happened on set before. This wasn't just another verbal spat between two stars vying for camera time. No, this was a full-blown confrontation that quickly turned physical. It was so serious that the safety of the cast and crew was called into question. What had started as a disagreement about storylines, public appearances, and the never-ending battle for screen time erupted into chaos. Personal feuds blurred into professional conflicts, and things turned ugly fast. With cameras still rolling, the tension reached a boiling point. Words were exchanged, accusations of betrayal were hurled, and the situation descended into mayhem. Fists flew, voices rose, and the chaos became so intense that producers had no choice but to step in and call the police to restore order. The police intervened and began separating the cast. The production team scrambled to assess the damage. The set, once buzzing with energy and controlled chaos, now felt tense and uncertain. The mood had shifted. The fallout had already begun, and all eyes turned to Mona Scott-Young. Known for being a savvy, calculated, and no-nonsense businesswoman, Mona didn't act on impulse, but she did act swiftly. As the executive producer and creative force behind the love and hip-hop brand, she knew this incident had crossed a line. It wasn't just about one dramatic moment. This was a threat to the entire operation, a crack in the foundation of the empire she had spent years building. Mona called a private meeting with the cast. But this wasn't your average production meeting or a behind-the-scenes pep talk. This was a moment of reckoning. And the cast felt it. They had always known Mona held the reins, but now she was about to remind everyone just how tight her grip was. Standing in front of the shaken group, Mona didn't mince words. She made it clear. Reality TV may thrive on conflict, but there are limits. There are boundaries that, when crossed, come with consequences. The show, she reminded them, wasn't just about chaos. It was about storytelling, entertainment, and above all, safety and professionalism. Then came the bombshell. Mona announced she was letting cast members go, effective immediately. No warnings. No second chances. The decision shocked everyone in the room. These were people who had contributed to the franchise's success, fan favorites who had been on screen for multiple seasons. But Mona's patience had run out. She explained that certain individuals had shown behavior that was not just erratic or unprofessional, but dangerous. Continuing with them would put not only the show at risk, but also the people behind it. What Mona didn't reveal, however, was who exactly would be fired. That information was kept under wraps, adding a new layer of tension. Whispers spread like wildfire. Speculation took over. Social media lit up with rumors, and fans were desperate to find out who would be cut from the show. Inside the production team, nerves were high. Cast members who had once felt untouchable now feared their time was up. Some walked around with quiet confidence, believing their roles were safe. Others avoided eye contact, nervously waiting for their name to be called in the next round of private meetings. Crew members whispered behind the scenes. Producers exchanged uneasy glances. Mona had drawn a hard line, and no one knew how far she'd go to enforce it. But one thing was certain. This wasn't about ratings anymore. This was about the future of love and hip-hop as a brand. Mona wasn't willing to sacrifice everything she had built for the sake of drama gone too far. And so, the question on everyone's mind: who would be the casualties of Mona's ruthless decision? Let's start with the first name on the chopping block, Jasmine. Jasmine had always been a firecracker on screen. Known for her sharp tongue, no-nonsense attitude, and constant presence in the middle of cast feuds, she was a fan favorite and a frequent source of drama. But behind the scenes, her behavior had grown increasingly volatile. Sources say she had clashed with multiple cast members in recent weeks, and her refusal to follow production guidelines had raised red flags. On the day of the incident, Jasmine was reportedly one of the central figures in the altercation. She didn't just argue, she got physical. And while the cameras captured some of the chaos, the full extent of her involvement shocked even the most seasoned producers. According to insiders, her behavior was a tipping point for Mona. It didn't matter how many storylines she was involved in or how popular she was with fans. In Mona's eyes, Jasmine had crossed a line that couldn't be ignored. And just like that, one of the show's most recognizable faces was gone. But Jasmine was only the beginning. Jasmine's bold personality and confrontational nature had made her a fan favorite, but her recent behavior had clearly crossed the line. Her clash with another cast member escalated into a violent encounter, one that not only alarmed the production team but also resulted in police intervention. Footage of the incident quickly went viral, drawing widespread criticism and concern from both fans and industry insiders. Mona Scott-Young knew she couldn't risk the backlash. Jasmine's time on the show was officially over. But what shocked everyone wasn't just the fact that she was fired, it was how she was let go. Mona didn't schedule a private meeting or offer Jasmine the dignity of exiting the show on her own terms. Instead, she made the decision swiftly, and without ceremony. Jasmine was fired over the phone. It was a cold, calculated move to sever ties immediately. Jasmine was blindsided, and the world was watching. Then there was Lamar, another long-standing cast member who had become a staple of the show. Known for bringing both drama and chaos, Lamar had always walked a fine line. But recently, his behavior had taken a turn for the worse. His erratic outbursts, especially during filming, became too much for the production to manage. Despite his deep involvement in some of the show's most explosive storylines, Mona wasn't willing to take any more risks following the police incident. In a bold and unexpected move, Lamar was also fired on the spot. No drawn-out discussion. No final scene. Just like that, his time on Love and Hip Hop came to an abrupt end. The remaining cast members were left reeling. Who would be next? The fate of Tasha shocked everyone. A rising star and recent fan favorite, Tasha had captivated viewers with her fierce attitude and unapologetic approach to conflict. But behind the scenes, things were starting to unravel. Her ongoing feuds with other cast members were taking a toll, not just on her relationships, but on the entire energy of the production. Though Tasha wasn't directly involved in the police confrontation, Mona had started to notice the cracks. And while she initially hesitated to let her go, the writing was on the wall. Tasha's presence on set was becoming more disruptive than dynamic. In a final attempt to salvage the relationship, Mona offered Tasha a chance to redeem herself, a reset, a chance to reframe her storyline and her image. But Tasha refused. She turned down every offer at reconciliation. And with that, the decision was made. Tasha was out. Amid the chaos and firings, a few cast members were spared, and one of the most surprising survivors was Greg. Often seen as the least controversial and most level-headed member of the group, Greg had quietly remained consistent throughout the show's ups and downs. Many speculated that Mona saw his calm and strategic nature as a stabilizing force, exactly what the show needed after such a chaotic event. His ability to remain composed during the most dramatic moments made him a rare asset. And then there was Chloe, the breakout star whose unexpected romantic drama had skyrocketed her popularity. Although she had her own fiery moments on screen, Chloe's charm and relatability had won over both the audience and Mona herself. Unlike others, her drama felt organic, her reactions authentic. She wasn't just good TV, she was the moment and the aftermath. One thing was clear, Mona Scott-Young had reshaped the cast with one bold, sweeping decision. And the message was loud and clear, no one was untouchable. Without ever going too far, Chloe managed to walk a fine line between fiery and reckless. Mona saw potential in her, a spark that could grow into something bigger. In fact, she believed Chloe could one day become the new face of the franchise. With these decisions, Mona had executed a mass cast overhaul that sent shockwaves through the production. It wasn't just a casting change, it was a seismic shift that would leave a lasting impact on the show and its loyal fanbase. The aftermath of Mona's bombshell firings didn't just create a void, it ignited a chain reaction. As word spread that some of the show's most controversial personalities had been let go, the public response was immediate and polarizing. Social media exploded with reactions. Some fans praised Mona for taking control and prioritizing safety. Others accused her of gutting the soul of the show. Had Mona made a bold move to save the series? Or had she just committed the biggest mistake of her career? In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere on set was heavy with tension. Newcomers and remaining cast members suddenly found themselves under the microscope, expected to fill the massive void left by the fired stars. The pressure was intense. Everyone was asking the same question: could the show survive without the faces that made it famous? Then, the unthinkable happened. Just as the dust began to settle, more drama surfaced, this time behind the scenes. A wave of leaks began to emerge, hinting at a major exposé brewing from within the former cast. Several dismissed cast members were allegedly preparing to go public with behind-the-scenes secrets that could turn the franchise upside down. The center of it all was Jasmine. In a scathing social media post, Jasmine accused Mona of deliberately orchestrating confrontations between cast members purely to boost ratings. She claimed producers had promised bigger storylines and more screen time to those willing to stir the pot, no matter the consequences. I was told to bring the drama. Get in people's faces. Get physical if necessary, Jasmine wrote. It's all a game, and Mona's the puppeteer. The allegations were explosive. If true, they had the potential to reshape how fans viewed the show entirely. What had once seemed like raw, unscripted drama now appeared suspiciously strategic, crafted chaos meant to keep viewers hooked at any cost. While Mona chose not to address Jasmine's claims publicly, her silence only fueled speculation. Instead of responding directly, she pushed forward with production, doubling down on her commitment to the show's future. Behind closed doors, however, producers were reportedly scrambling to manage the growing PR crisis. Mona had created a world where the lines between reality and scripting had blurred, and now the consequences were catching up. But the drama didn't stop with Jasmine. Shortly after her post, Lamar also came forward, offering his own account. In a revealing media interview, he alleged that Mona had personally urged him to provoke confrontations to generate headlines. Lamar claimed he had been manipulated into becoming the season's villain, all in an effort to boost ratings through controversy. His words were chilling. She wanted someone the fans could hate, and I was the perfect target. Suddenly, Fans were questioning everything they thought they knew. Was the drama they had been watching for years truly authentic? Or had it all been part of a carefully crafted script? The future of love and hip-hop was hanging in the balance, and one thing had become painfully clear. When it came to Mona Scott-Young, nothing was off-limits in the pursuit of success. Climbing steadily, the scandal showed no signs of slowing down. But the bigger question loomed. Could this controversy threaten the entire empire that Mona Scott-Young had built? Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Lana James, a former close associate of Mona, stepped into the spotlight. For years, Lana had been an influential behind-the-scenes figure in the Love and hip-hop franchise. She advised cast members, provided guidance during filming, and was regarded as a trusted confidant. Though her role remained largely off-camera, Lana had witnessed some of the most intense and pivotal moments in the show's history. But now, she was speaking out, and what she had to say sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. And an exclusive interview with a popular media outlet, Lana dropped bombshell after bombshell. According to her, Mona's methods of maintaining control over the franchise were far more ruthless than anyone had ever imagined. She revealed that Mona had developed a detailed blueprint to manipulate the show's narrative, using the cast as mere pawns in her grand strategy to boost ratings and maintain buzz. Everything was planned, Lana confessed, her voice trembling with emotion. Every fight, every confrontation, even those suspenseful cliffhangers, they were all scripted. Mona made sure the tension was always high. If someone got too comfortable or too real, she'd stir the pot to keep them interesting. Lana didn't just make claims, she backed them up with shocking details. She revealed that before each season, Mona and her producers held private meetings to map out the most controversial storylines. Cast members were reportedly divided into groups based on personality traits and their potential to generate conflict. Those who thrived on drama were given more screen time, while the quieter personalities were pushed to the background. But it didn't stop there. Lana disclosed that Mona had allegedly staged or exaggerated certain incidents to make them appear more intense than they actually were, all in the name of keeping audiences hooked. The goal was to make sure people were always talking about the show, Lana said. The cast was used as tools to create chaos. But when that chaos spiraled out of control and people started getting hurt, Mona would step in, not out of concern, but to regain control of the narrative. Lana went on to make one of the most damning accusations yet. Mona had allegedly blackmailed certain cast members into staying on the show against their will. According to Lana, several stars had tried to leave the franchise, feeling exploited and emotionally drained. But Mona reportedly threatened to expose personal secrets and past scandals if they walked away. The tension behind the scenes had reached a breaking point. Cast members were allegedly turning on each other, and on Mona, Lana's interview set off a wave of backlash. Fans began questioning the authenticity of the show, and many were left wondering if the emotional moments and explosive confrontations they had come to love were nothing more than calculated performances. What had once been hailed as raw and real was now under fire for being possibly scripted, manipulative, and toxic. And for the first time, the empire Mona had built seemed truly at risk. The explosive allegations left fans questioning everything. Were the rivalries they had watched unfold over the years anything more than just a carefully crafted performance? It also raised a bigger question. How many other reality shows were doing the same thing? Had reality TV become nothing more than a glorified soap opera, replacing fictional characters with real people for the sake of higher ratings? Just when it seemed the revelations couldn't possibly get worse, Mona Scott-Young finally addressed the scandal. Her response would leave viewers stunned, and what she had to say wouldn't just shock the cast. It had the potential to shift the entire trajectory of the reality TV industry. When Mona finally broke her silence, the world held its breath. Media outlets buzzed with anticipation, fans eagerly awaited her side of the story, and industry insiders watched closely. Would she deny everything? Would she accept responsibility? Or would she deliver an unexpected twist that flipped the entire narrative? Mona's first public statement came through a highly controlled, carefully curated interview with a leading entertainment news outlet. Appearing composed and confident, she seemed surprisingly unbothered by the storm brewing around her. But those who knew Mona understood. She was a seasoned strategist who had navigated crises before. "I'm not going to sit here and pretend like reality TV is real," Mona began, her tone firm, almost defiant. "We all know it's entertainment. We're creating a show people want to watch. And sometimes that means things get intense. Sometimes things get dramatic. That's the nature of the beast." Then came the statement that made headlines. "If you're asking me whether I'm responsible for every plot twist, every fight, and every explosive moment you've seen, then yes, in a way, I am." But what people forget is that the cast members are not innocent bystanders. They're active participants. They make choices. It was a calculated move. Mona wasn't apologizing. She was embracing her role. She didn't paint herself as a manipulative producer, but rather as someone who gave the cast the tools to thrive in a chaotic environment. Then she addressed Lana James' allegations directly. "I have no idea where Lana is coming from with these claims," Mona said, her tone growing sharper. "She's accusing me of manipulating the cast, controlling their every move. But that's not the reality. What I do is give people opportunities. I help them step into their roles. If they choose to make their mark, that's on them. I don't control them, I guide them." In a strategic pivot, Mona brought the conversation back to ratings. "Let's be honest, every show needs ratings to survive. Yes, we want the drama to be exciting because that's what gets people talking. But that's not manipulation. That's production. That's entertainment. And everyone in this industry knows it." But Mona's words didn't calm the storm. In fact, her defiant tone only seemed to ignite it further. Critics and former cast members came forward, sharing their own experiences and casting further doubt on the authenticity of Mona's version of events. One former cast member, who requested anonymity, told reporters, "She's a master manipulator. Mona knows exactly how to push people's buttons and get them to do things they'd never normally do. The idea that she just lets things unfold naturally is a joke. Nothing about that show is organic." Despite the backlash, Mona stood firm. She didn't retreat from the spotlight. Instead, she doubled down. Taking to social media, she posted a cryptic message that sent fans into a frenzy. "What you see on TV is just the surface. The real game is behind the scenes. Get used to it."